Hello and good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Crafternoon Box by Papercrafting Australia. My name's Tangi, if you haven't met me before. For everyone who's joining us again, hello, welcome back. I hope you're happy and well on this Saturday. So we are here in Melbourne and thankfully we have a premier who cares about us, not like some of the presidents and prime ministers around the world, but we're back in another 5-day lockdown. So lockdown number 3 for those keeping count. Hopefully this one doesn't go on for 6 to 8 months like our last one, but better safe than sorry. Anyway, if you're in on Facebook or on YouTube Live, pop into the chat, say hello. Tony, hi, I can see you're here again. So excited for the last catch-ups. Last couple of catch-ups have been good. Yes, I agree, Tony. We've been having a great time making some wonderful cards and projects here at the Crafternoon Box. So I hope that, yeah, you're all joining us back again. If you are not joining us live and you're joining us later on, that is absolutely fine. Not everyone can make every session, which is okay. Life does get in the way. Hi there, Carrie. Yes, thank you. Stay safe, Melbourne. We are doing our best. We did go out in the car this morning and went a little bit further than our 5-kilometre limit because my partner had to go to the doctors this morning. So yes, we are allowed out for that. But other than that, we're locked down, we're at home, we're just, yeah, hanging out, doing more craft projects. So, you know, nothing too bad about that. So today we are going to make a shaker card. So I don't know how many of you have made a shaker card before, but I'll just flip down to my workspace. So this is the card that I've made for today's example. So as you can see, give it a little bit of a shake and there's lots of little bits and pieces that you would have found in your little shaker kit mix that came with your Crafternoon box. These, I still need to upload these to the store. I'm very, very slack at that and I will get around to it. Now that I'm in lockdown, maybe I've got some time. So yeah, so shaker card, the principle is the same no matter what purpose you're making it for. If you're doing a birthday card, if you're doing, you know, any other kind of celebratory card, you just follow the same kind of techniques, using a die cut to cut a hole, pop a bit of acetate in, and fill it up with shaky things. So generally you'll find some sequins, some glitter. I don't like to use glitter because it just gets everywhere. It's horrible to clean up, especially if you have carpet. But today we've got our shaker mix. So this includes some polymer clay hearts, some, I think they're 3mm rhinestones, clear rhinestones, and some little clear iridescent stars, so little sequin stars there. So other things that I've got on my desk to start the project today is, of course, I've got our Small Hearts dies, which is our paper rose. I've got some scissors. I've got a black glaze pen, which is what I did, just the little dashes around the heart and just a border around the edge because it just needed a little bit something else. I've got our sentiment strips. I've got a little bit of liquid glue. I've got a stamp block, an acrylic stamp block. I've got some double-sided foam tape, which you are definitely going to need. I've got all kinds of bits of cardstock out of the Crafternoon box. So I've got some white. I've got a couple of different reds and a pink type of colour. I've got some loose stars already. So imagine if that was glitter, they'd be in 25,000 more places. I've got a little bit of our black cardstock and, of course, the all-important acetate. Now, as you're going through and making this today, try to resist the temptation to use all of it today. There is a project coming up later in the Crafternoon box this month that will use some more of this acetate. So try and keep to the amount that we're using today so that you've got more. Otherwise, you'll need to get some more before we do the next project. And I've got a ruler. I've also got a craft knife with me. So yeah, all kinds of little bits and pieces. Oh, and of course my die cut machine. So, oh, and this little guy's my little embossing tool. So it's just a little powdery tool. It's got cornstarch in it, which helps the acetate to not be so staticky and for all of your shaker things to move around a bit rather than just getting stuck to the front of the window. So let's get to it. I'm just going to move a few bits and pieces off my workspace so I've got a little bit more room down here. So the first thing you're going to need, let me keep this in shot just so we've got a bit of a reference point. Now this this kind of shape and format doesn't, you don't have to do it exactly how this is. You can choose a different colored card base if you want to try a different colored card base. And in fact, I'm going to do that for this card and swap it around a bit. So I am going to make mine a little bit red and then I'll use white for my top piece. So I'm kind of inverting the colors a little bit. Hopefully we don't get too confused along the way. So the first thing I'm going to do is cut my card base. And these are the dimensions that you're going to need for the card base that we're making today. Or you can make a card that is whatever size you would like it to be. That is up to you. You're just going to have to amend every single measurement that comes along. So first of all, we need 8.5 inches. Make sure that's straight. That would be a good start. By 5.5 inches. I'm just going to put my scraps off my bench. Okay, I'm then going to get, oh, where's it gone? I had it here before. Here we go. My scoreboard. And so as the piece of paper says, we're going to score that at 4 1/4. Now you can make this as a portrait or as a landscape card. It doesn't matter. Dimensions are the same. It's just the way you hold it. So just fold that one over. Oops, got a little bit carried away there. And so that is our card base. I've got to remember, I've set my camera up in a little bit of a different spot today, so I need to lean forward a little bit further. But I'll get into that. Hello, Mum. Sharon's in the house. Glitter is fun. Oh, you don't send glitter-filled cards, Carrie. That's terrible. Bad girl. Oh, dear. All right. So then the next layer that you're going to need to cut is your border or mat. So in the example card, that is the black down at the back of the card. Now I've already cut one of these today. So that one is 5 1/8 by 3 7/8. So you can see that's that little bit there. I've got these little stars are everywhere. Jeepers. Okay, at least did you all see I got a new surface to work on? After I inked mine up last session, I had to very carefully hide things when I did my Card of the Month kit tutorial the other day. That was a little bit weird, but yeah, I hid that nicely. So once you've cut your border and mat, you will then cut, on this card it's the coloured layer. Okay. I'm going to make mine white for the purposes of this one because I just want to get a little bit cleaner picture on the front, just a little bit of a cleaner scene. So without covering up those for you guys, I'm going to cut this one at 3 3/4 by 5. Put my scraps away. Okay, so once we've cut that, we can kind of see how this is all going to start to layer up. Once I put it in view, would be great. At least I've got my dimensions. If anyone watched my Card of the Month kit tutorial the other night, I didn't write my dimensions down and I was trying to divide things by 2 and maths was not working for me. So I'm sure it was entertaining for you all. Now I've written here with the coloured layer dimensions that your acetate, now the acetate needs to be no bigger than this, and depending on what you're covering and how you're structuring your card, it can be smaller. So for this example, so the heart-shaped die that we're using, and you might be using a different shaped die if you want to. That one, so this heart shape it's about 2 inches. So realistically, if I don't want to waste too much of my acetate, which I don't because I do want to use some of it for my next project later down the track, I reckon if I gave myself 2.5 by 2.5 inches, I should be pretty good. I'm just going to cut that down. Acetate's not the cheapest craft supply in the world, but it's also not super stupendously expensive. So we'll see how we go. Okay, so we've prepped that. Now I'm going to put it on something that I can see where it is. If there's a craft material that you ever go looking for a million times because you keep losing it, acetate's going to be it. Now, I'm also going to cut out, because I want a bit of a red background, I'm going to cut out the middle of this border because we don't actually need all of that. And this means that I'm going to end up with some scrap. Let me see if I can put these in. Where have I got over here? Just in case people are still writing a little bit crooked, but that's okay. There we go. Then people can see that if they are tuning in late and still wanting to play catch up. Yeah, so as I was saying, with this black, we don't need all of the middle because it is essentially just the background border, just providing a little bit of a neat edge here. So what I'm going to do, I want to be able to see, once we cut through the heart-shaped die on this, we'll see through and we'll have the red background to go behind all of the sparkles. So it's just a different way of looking at it because I did have a white base on the example card. And just like so many reflections coming off things. Okay, so I'm going to just measure rough enough, not too bad, but about 1 centimetre in from each side, and I'm just going to give it a bit of a, just going to draw myself a bit of a guideline because otherwise I am going to cut this really crooked. We obviously just want to keep that little border around the edge and have a little bit of space to glue this to our front card. Sing out in the comments on YouTube or Facebook if you are, if you have any questions or you're like, what did you just say? Why would you do that? Yeah, give me a holler. So then I'm going to use a craft knife just to cut that out. You can use, if you've got a paper trimmer that's got a nice blade that does work very well for you, to be able to trim inside this piece of cardstock. So again, I'm not being too pedantic. I'm not right on the line. I'm not exactly where I would be normally. I've gone over a bit. I just need to be able to pop that middle bit out. That I can use to go and do some other, die cutting or something else later on down the track. This I'm going to flip over and I'm going to adhere this to it once I've cut out the heart shape. Okay, so we've pretty much got all of that stuff prepped. Let's get the die cut machine. I've got my big shot. You might not get to see much of it today because I've got stuff everywhere. There we go. So, I wonder how much. I'll get it a bit further. There we go. Now you can see more what I'm doing. So now, depending on your placement, now with this one, I've kind of done it a little bit off center just so I can put a couple more hearts on there. So I'm going to kind of follow the similar type of positioning. Might put it on the lower layer, that might help. And I'm just going to pop this one up a little bit higher than I did on the previous one, just to allow a bit more room for the sentiment down on the bottom right. But placement is all up to you. This is your time to be creative and crafty. And I've got so much junk caught up in my mats. It's just bleh, stuff everywhere. Okay, so I've cut that part out. And that's going to work. Oops. I'll lay that out. So it'll work up there. That's all good. So now we want to take your coloured cardstock. So either of your colours where you might want to do some embellishments I've already cut some out of this for the example card, so I'm just going to cut some more. Now this time I think I might have more hearts than I did last time. I think it needs a few more. So just go ahead and cut 2 or 4 of each colour. If you want a couple of colours, you might want to just do one colour and space it all out across the front of the card. That's fine. Kick those off. Whatever you like and however you would like to decorate the front of your card. I'm just going to do 2 of each because I did have a thought before, and that was that I might use some of our patterned paper that came in the Crafternoon box to add some extra colour, texture and movement onto the front. Anytime today. There we go. So that's my cardstock ones. Now I'm just going to, oops, got things everywhere. Dig into my Crafternoon box. Oops. And of course they're not in there. Just because I want them. Where are they? Here they are. I found them. Oops, bash, bang. So the pattern papers that came from our Crafternoon box for this month. So what colours have I got? I've got this colour, and a real red. Might cut a few out of that and put a little bit of pink in there. I only need 2, one of each size will probably be enough. I'm going to try and get a decent amount of texture in here. Has anybody got anything really fun planned for the weekend? Because, I mean, you know, now that we're in lockdown, we have to live vicariously through everybody else. So, you know, tell me you're doing something good. I think they only found 1 new case in Melbourne this morning, or since yesterday, so that's a good start. Just have to hope that there's not been more everywhere else.